Hello, this is Dallin with Developer Insight, and today I'm going to be going through the Basic Operators chapter in the Elixir guide. This is going to be a fairly short video today as we've already covered many of the operators in the Basic Types chapter that was covered last time. So if you haven't already, go back and watch previous videos in this playlist to get caught up. We'll go ahead and get started here by entering the IEX command into the terminal to open up the interactive Elixir console. And we're going to start out talking about the basic operators for math. That includes addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. And I'll just do simple examples of each for now. And along with these basic operators, we have the divide and the remainder functions. And to remind you how those work, you just do divide and then remainder. And that's going to do integer division and remainder division, respectively. Now to manipulate lists, we're going to use the list concatenation and subtraction operators. And these look like a plus plus and a minus minus. And that is going to combine the two lists into a concatenated list. For the subtraction operator, it'll look like this. And as you can see, the 2 has been taken out of that list. For string concatenation, we are just going to use an opening and closing angle bracket, and that's going to concatenate the two strings. The Boolean operators that we use include or, and not, and these operators expect to have Booleans as their two arguments. As you can see, true and true results in true, and false or is atom, and with the atom example inside, is going to result in true also, since the atom example is an atom. One thing to note is that non-booleans will actually raise an exception. So if we do 1 and true, that's going to throw an error because it needs to be a boolean on either side. In Elixir, boolean operators are short circuit operators. That means that they're only going to execute the right side of the operation if the left side is not enough to determine the result. To give an example of this, I will put in false and then raise an error. And as you can see, the error was not raised because it already was proven false and it's not going to evaluate the right side of this equation. The error also is not going to be raised in this example where I said true or and then raise the exception, because true is already true and it's going to stop evaluating the or right there. Elixir also provides the or and not operators, which look like two pipes, two and symbols, and a exclamation point. And those are going to accept any type, so they work for all values. And all values except for false and nil are going to result in true. It doesn't try to do any special casting for you, like turning a 0 to a false or anything like that. Anything except for false and nil is going to be true. I'll do some examples to show or, so 1 or true. As you can see, that results in 1. One important thing to note about these operators is that they actually return the value. So they're just going to return the first value that occurs that is true, or that matches the operation. So for example, 1 or true, it's going to return 1, because 1 is a truthy value. Whereas false, or put in a number like 11, it's going to return to us 11, because that is the first truthy value. For and, we can do nil and 13. And as you can see, it's going to return to us nil, because it's evaluating to false, so it's going to return to us the value that made it false. And we can also do this example with true and 17, and as you can see, it's going to return to us 17 because both the values are true. So for or, it's returning to us the first true value. For and, it's returning to us the, I guess, last true value, but the false value if it comes up. And for not, just returning to us booleans for not. As a rule, you're going to want to use and, or not, meaning the words like that, or that, when you're expecting booleans. Otherwise, you can go ahead and use the two and symbols, the two pipes, or the exclamation point operators. For comparison operators, we have the double equals the not equals, the triple equals, the not double equals, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, less than or greater than. So we'll do some examples to show how these work, where 1 is equal to 1, that's true, 1 is not equal to 2, that's going to be true also, and 1 is less than 2, true. Now, the only difference between the triple equals and the double equals is that the triple equals is just more strict than the double equals when comparing integers and floats. We can go ahead and test that out here with 1 is equal to 1.0. That's going to return true because it's saying, yeah, those are the same. However, if we do 1 triple equals equal to 1.0, it's going to say false because those are two different types, and the integer one is not the same as a float one. Now we can compare different types. For example, we can have 1 is less than an atom, and that's going to return true. This is based on an organized sorting order that's put out for types in Elixir. That's going to be that a number is less than an atom, which is less than a reference, which is less than a function, which is less than a port, less than a PID, which is less than a tuple, which is less than a map, which is less than a list, and which is less than a bit string. So that wraps up this short video on the basic operators that are used in Elixir, and I'll look forward to seeing you guys in the next one.